With a force and power indescribable and unimaginable, it all began. The universe came into being. This is fundamental. This is truth. According to NASA, space did not exist before the universe. It is better to think of the Big Bang as the simultaneous appearance of space everywhere in the universe. There is now decisive evidence of the Big Bang from the heavens and from the telescopes that there was an instantaneous beginning to the universe. There are two forms of proof. One is theoretical, with Einstein's equations which predicted an expanding universe. One is experiential, with Edwin Hubble's actual observations of our expanding universe. Both came to the same conclusion. There is a definite beginning to the universe. In 1931, Einstein didn't believe this idea of a beginning. He preferred a static, infinite universe. However, when he saw through Hubble's telescope with his own eyes, he said, "I now see the necessity of a beginning." According to Robert Jastrow, astronomer and physicist at NASA, it is a scientifically proven fact that the world began abruptly, in an act of supernatural creation to which you can trace the seeds of every star, every planet, and every living thing. This points to the reality, beyond the universe, that the universe was created out of nothing and brought into being. Science has discovered that life first appeared with plants, then sea animals, and land animals, followed by human beings. The laws of physics are perfectly balanced for life to occur. Without gravity, there would be no planets or stars. Without the strong nuclear force, nothing would hold protons and neutrons together in the nucleus. Without the electromagnetic force, there would be no bonding between chemicals and no light. These fundamental principles must be in place for life to occur. Wipe out just one of these principles, and life is not possible. Life depends on the precise strengths and relative values of these constants. Our atmosphere miraculously blocks out harmful radiation, allowing the life-giving light of the sun to reach the surface of the earth. This is just one of an awesome set of circumstances that empower photosynthesis, generate oxygen, and support life. Each plant breathes in the sun's light. And as each plant exhales, we breathe in oxygen. Perfection. The universe was created with unimaginable power, inconceivable precision, and perfect, balanced harmony. In 1859, Darwin said, "If it could be demonstrated that any complex organ existed, which could not possibly have been formed by numerous successive slight modifications, my theory would absolutely break down. But I can find no such case." In fact, during Darwin's time, cells were imagined to be not much more than a blob of protoplasm, a jello, not very complex. But today, we know that, in fact, your entire body is like an electrical company, chemical factory, transportation grid, communications network, detoxification facility, hospital and battlefield all rolled into one. Famed biochemist Franklin Harold admitted in 2001, there are presently no detailed Darwinian accounts of the evolution of any biochemical or cellular system, only a variety of wishful speculations. Inside living organisms, science has discovered intelligently designed micromachines like the bacterial flagellum. It is made up of approximately 40 parts, including a rotary motor, a stator, a propeller, a drive shaft, U-joints, and impeller. It has 2 gears, forward and reverse, and is water-cooled. Some of these motors can turn up to 100,000 RPMs. Harvard University professor of physics and molecular biology, Howard Berg, has labeled it the most efficient machine in the universe. In 1995, Bill Gates said, "DNA is like a computer program, but far, far more advanced than any software ever created." Likewise, James Watson, the co-discoverer of the genetic code with Francis Crick, proclaimed, "All life is digital information." You could store every movie ever made into DNA. It would be smaller than the size of a sugar cube, and it would last for 10,000 years. DNA is present in each and every living cell of the human body. Each DNA strand is over 6 feet long. If someone were to unwind all of the DNA molecules in the human body and place them end to end, the total length that can be covered is 10 billion miles. That's the distance from Earth to Pluto and back. Francis Collins, former director of the Human Genome Project, has called the genetic code the language of God. He marvels that the human genome was written in the DNA language by which God spoke life into being. Abnormal changes to the DNA code are called mutations. Cancer cells, as an example, are created because of mutations in genes. It is important to realize that gene mutations happen in our cells all the time, but usually the cell detects the change and repairs it, and if it can't be repaired, the cell will get a signal telling it to die in a process called apoptosis. But if the cell doesn't die and the mutation is not repaired, cancer can develop. And yet, Neo-Darwinian evolution relies on random mutations that are preserved by a blind, undirected process with no long-term plan. Such a random and undirected process historically harms organisms and does not advance them in any way. In the words of leading geneticist Lynn Margulis, a member of the National Academy of Sciences, new mutations don't create new species, they create offspring that are impaired. In his book, Signature in the Cell, Stephen Meyer writes, "The specified digital information in the DNA molecule provides strong grounds for inferring that intelligence played a role in the origin of DNA." Perfect creation. Leading champion of atheism for more than half a century and Oxford British philosophy professor Antony Flew changed his mind and became a believer in God at the age of 81. In a telephone interview with ABC News, Flew indicated that a superintelligence is the only good explanation for the origin of life and the complexity of nature. The astronomical evidence supports the biblical view of the origin of the world. The details differ, but the essential elements in the astronomical and biblical accounts of Genesis are the same. The chain of events leading to man commenced suddenly and sharply at a definite moment in time, in a flash of light and energy. There is a beginning to the universe. The laws of physics are perfectly tuned for life to exist. Biochemistry shows incredible complexity and design in each cell. There is digital information in our DNA. All of this is proof that points to a prior intelligent cause. In the beginning, God.